Sprains, strains, fractures, contusions, and abrasions are some of familiar words that doctors and those in the emergency room know only too well when they deal with injuries relating to sporting activities. We will be looking in great detail today about the injury that are experienced by a lot of athletes in the world of athletics. Hello and welcome to Setting the Pace on Zuku Sports. My name is Sadiq Shaban. Let's catch up with the news involving athletes and news making headlines in the world of athletics. Botswana's Isaac Makwala broke the African record in 400 meters by setting a personal best time of 44.01 seconds at the La France race in France. He later set another national record in the same meeting, this time in 200 meters, stopping the clock at 19.96 seconds. David Rudisha will return to the track for the third time since his return from injury when he runs in the IAAF Diamond League meeting in Glasgow in a race that will see a host of other runners feature, including Hassan Sifan of the Netherlands, who set the Dutch record at the Areva meeting in France. Kenyan Asbel Kiprop set the world lead time of 1 minute 44.23 seconds in the 800 meters during the same race. Elsewhere, Jamaican sprint stars Usain Bolt and Sherry Ann Fraser-Price have been included in the Jamaica's 68-strong team to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Six-time Olympic gold medalist Bolt and two-time 100 meters Olympic champion Fraser-Price are both expected to compete only in the 4x100 meters relays. A lot of athletes know too well that injury is part of the game. I want to put this into perspective now and introduce Dr. Victor Bargoria, who is an orthopedic. Thank you very much for joining us and welcome to Setting the Pace on Zuku Sports.
Thank you, Shaban. Thank you for having me.
Right. What are some of the 1 or 2, 3 injuries, if you could itemize, that you deal with them on a very frequent basis?
The majority of the injuries that I seem to get are usually overuse injuries. And these are injuries that occur because of repetitive loading of the joints and the muscles as they run, and as a result, they get injuries. These are mainly tendinopathies, for example, just bursitis, or even sometimes muscle strains and also sprains.
Do they come to you sometimes when it is too late?
As you very well know, Shaban, sports injuries are associated with a very high physical, psychological, financial cost. And sometimes they come to me very late, and I wish actually they focused more on prevention.
Have you had those kind of situations where an athlete tells you, I think I just pulled my hamstring, but later you found perhaps it was something very different, but now coming up and being introduced by hamstring injury, for example?
Correct, Shaban. Sports injuries occur, and hardly do they occur in isolation, and possibly that injury that the athlete could be calling you about could be as a result of a previous injury that resulted in the athlete either changing the gait of running, resulting in an imbalance in the muscles and all that, hence predisposing to that injury that the athlete comes in. So in that situation, you need to do a very good assessment, the initial assessment, which will involve a subjective assessment. First of all, it will involve the history. You get the history from the athlete, how it all started, how the training has been, and what really led to that kind of injury in the first place. Then you go to the examination, and you examine the athlete, and you have an objective assessment. Once you get an objective assessment, then you go ahead and you do the investigations. For example, an X-ray, an ultrasound, an MRI or a CT scan, depending on what condition the athlete comes in. So diagnosis is the first thing that you have to do.
Have you had instances where athletes have been perhaps misadvised to take painkillers, treating the symptoms as it were, instead of treating the disease itself?
Yeah, exactly, Shaban. Yeah, there have been such a situation, and I guess you could call that trying to manage the situation when the horse has already bolted. And what you need to do is get back to what is the cause of the pain. What caused that pain in the first place? Manage that, and then from there, you'll be able to have at least a better outcome. Instead of managing the pain, And that occurs a lot where, I mean, you have athletes using a lot of painkillers, and it's in all sports really, and that's not a good approach to sports injury management.
I just want to look at the psychological aspect of it. Do you also consider that when initially you receive an athlete who says he has got an injury?
Yes, of course, psychological state of the athlete determines a lot, both in as a causative factor in injuries and also as a factor in during the rehabilitation period of that athlete. If psychologically, for example, Shaban, you go for a training or an event, for example, and you're not mentally or psychologically well prepared, you're bound to make a few mistakes here and there, and that might predispose you to injuries. Secondly, during the rehabilitation period, you need to accept and say, yes, I have this injury, I have to rest and undergo this rehabilitation period by going to the gym, do specific strengthening exercises, do exercises that limit loading, for example, hence aggravating the injury. So you need to accept psychologically that yes, this is the state of things, and having done that, then you'll probably get a better rehabilitation period, hence quicker healing and return to play.
Is a case of resilience and determination in the face of adversity. He's been battling recurrent injury for a long time now, but he's refused to give up. Alfred Kirwa Yego is a world champion in 800 meters from the 2007 World Championships in athletics in Japan. And he speaks to Zuku Sports exclusively about his tribulations, trials, triumphs, and the sheer determination to overcome his injury.
All has been well since I started running. It's now 10 years. I've been doing well. I've been participating in World Championships, Olympics. I missed one Olympics and one World Championship for last year, but the rest I've been there. There are so many challenges and there are so many things actually that can make athletes in life to be tough or hard, but I can specify one as in the worst thing is injury. There is no way you can avoid injury. Injury, you can even get injury anywhere. Even walking, you can just step on somewhere and get it. So long as you are an athlete, injuries should come all the way. And so long as you are training, you can get injuries along the way. It started like 2 months ago when I was training in Kapsabet. That's the time I was preparing for my build-ups. And I was doing my workout there. And I did some sprints. And I pulled the tendon, and that's the time actually I started this problem. So I've been nursing this injury for the last 2 months. I've been doing therapy like twice a day for the last 2 months, and it reached a point that I could see it was like 80%. But unfortunately, for the last 1 week, when I go back for the track just to test for the if it's improving, that's the time now it gets worse again. So, but actually the therapy has been good. I've been working with my physios here. We have been doing well. I can't do it without physiotherapy. After track, I need a physiotherapy to make my muscles relaxed. With my problem now, I'm injured. I need my physio to be there most of the time so that I progress in my program. Without those guys, we cannot do anything. We cannot, because they are doing a lot. But when it comes to celebration, we don't recognize those people like they really did something that really changed life of athletes. So I think it's a high time to recognize those people and to be known that without them, we cannot do anything. Last year, I went to Italy. I treated there. But it wasn't the same problem. This is a different one. But for this one, I can say I've been only treating here with my physios here. And I've never gone outside, of which I was to take my time before traveling back to Italy, maybe to see for treatment. The only difference outside there is the kind of machines they use, like scan. I believe they are well advanced, because That's the only difference I can see, because I don't see any big difference, because visuals, having visuals there and having visuals here, they are all the same. But the only difference is the machines that they are using outside there. That's the only thing, to find out the problem is. But to treat, we can even treat back here again. I did my workout before time, because I was doing my build-ups and I rushed into that program. So the challenge is, or the cause of this injury is, you can go to the track when you are not ready. So there is so many things that you have to do it before doing other programs, like preparation for the build-ups, doing long runs, doing hill walks and everything before you go to the track. But you'll find an athlete doing going to the track without having that build-ups in a lot, so that it can happen when you react. The body or the muscles can react before getting ready to that kind of speed. If all will go well, I was planning to start in New York, of which until now I'm not confirmed, because this injury is on and off, so I can't say I'll be coming when. So the first thing is to treat my leg, then thereafter I'll get ready for some races later in maybe July. Missing even one dam in a year, or missing one event, that can bring a lot of changes in your career, in terms of, I mean, economy and everything. Like me, last year I did like only 3 events in the year, and I normally do like 10 events in a year. So you can see that kind of difference. So it really make a big difference in my economy and everything in my life. Initially, according to my life program, I was planning like maybe I'll do 800 for 10 years, and then thereafter I'll shift for 1500 or something else longer. So this is my 10 year in doing 800. So I've never thought of moving out of this career. This is my career, and I was thinking of doing other things after 800, like going for 1500. Thereafter, even to earn to do something like road race, like 10K, of which I can do it, because me, I normally do long runs. I've been working hard, running up and down, going for therapies here. I went back to Kenyatta, hoping that all will be well, so that I finish my 800 in event in the track, and then thereafter I'll go for 1500. So I always say never die, so I have to fight until the end, of course. I'm still young and I can still do it.
Alfred Kirwa Yego's injury reminds many of freshly injured David Rudisha, who is a world champion in 800 meters from 2011 and Olympic champion in 800 meters. And importantly, the world record holder in 800 meters, who is now smarting from 1 year absence or out of a knee injury. And David Rudisha has so far competed, won 1 race, and he says he's made full recovery and is in fact competing in the ongoing IAAF Diamond League. It is with this strength of confidence that Athletics Kenya drafted him into the Kenyan team that will take part in the 20th edition of the Commonwealth Games that will be held in Scotland in summer.
After New York is when I picked an injury. We decided to do a keyhole surgery. After the keyhole surgery, I would say that I was really happy that at least I found the problem.
When they set out to compete, many athletes know an injury is never too far away. In fact, they say it's the name of the game. As we are going to look at a picture right now, and I must warn our viewers that some of the viewers may find it a little bit too sensitive. It sometimes could be caused by wrong techniques. It could be caused by wearing wrong shoes, as was a case of this junior athlete who was competing in the junior trials in the long jump, and he ended up breaking his arm. And this is where I want to bring in Dr. Victor Bargoria once again to be able to put these and much more into perspective. Daktari, what kind of classifications do you have for injuries?
Yeah, broadly, Shaban, we in sports, we classify sports injuries into either acute injuries or overuse injuries. That case that you've just described of the athlete who sustained a fracture, that is an acute injury. And there are about 3 of such injuries. You could have a fracture, you could just have a dislocation on the joint, And also you could have things like an abrasions or contusions. Open fractures, as is currently the term that is used, need to be managed, of course, starting from where they have occurred in the field, which will include just a general assessment of the athletes, and which will include assessing the airway, breathing, circulation, and just exposing and finding out whether there are any other associated injuries, splinting the limb that is involved, like in that case, stopping the bleeding, get the athlete to an emergency facility where they can get tetanus toxoid vaccine if it is an open injury, and then IV fluids, and, pain management, and then subsequently it will be followed by fixation of that injury, either using after debridement and fixation using hardware.
Right. Yeah. And very quickly, Dr. there are certain and deliberate no-nos that anybody with an injury should be able to observe. Probably just three, very quickly. What should you not do if you have an injury and you're looking to full recovery?
Of course, you need to be very careful about the rehabilitation period, not coming back to the competition too soon before you get adequate healing, and of course ensuring that you maintain at least a rehabilitation plan.
Very quickly, Dr. before I let you go, very quickly, someone is asking through our Twitter handle at Zuku Sports, he says, and what is the difference and how much difference can training shoes, using wrong type of training shoes can cause injury? And he is looking at those that are running a marathon, those who are running on rough surface, and those that are running on the tracks. Very quickly.
Yes, wrong choice of equipment predisposes to injuries. For example, if you choose a shoe, for example, that the shock absorption has really been, is no longer there, then you predispose your limbs to a lot of forces, and that will predispose you over time to things such as stress fractures and things of that nature. So choice of equipment is important in terms of preventing and avoiding injuries.
Dr. Victor Bargoria, many thanks indeed for joining us here on Setting the Pace on Zuku Sports.
Thank you, Sadiq.
Well, I know we've all benefited greatly, and we can call ourselves amateur doctors, courtesy of the medical terms that we have learned from Victor Bargoria. But members of the public also weighed in on this matter, and we put this question, how they can avoid the injury. Our athletes can be able to avoid the injury, even as we also catch up with the former 800 meters world champion, Janeth Jepkosgei.
One, they have to avoid excessive exercise and to avoid doing their exercise in muddy areas.
If they wore the right kind of shoes, I know there are shoes for running and there are shoes for doing other things. And the way the posture you use when you're running is also important. If you keep your head high, your chin high, they say it protects your back.
I'd say step one is you have to know your own body. And that comes from time and observation, and hopefully a good coach who can help you figure out where your weak points are, where your strengths are.
There's never been easy to be on top for all those years actually, but it takes time, dedication, and also you have to sacrifice many things in order to achieve. I never ran actually in Moscow because of an injury, but right now I'm okay. I'm coming back slowly by slowly. I cannot say that I'm in the top shape, but considering that I cannot rush on my training because of injuries, and also I have young people coming up, so I cannot really follow them in many things as before. So my leg is okay now, and I'm happy to run 2:00 indoor was a good achievement for me. Being with the young athletes like Eunice and Agatha is a motivation for me actually, and it keeps me moving because right now I do athletics like I'm an athlete at the same time. I also give them advice. So it's being playing two roles in one career. So I'm happy for that, and I know they're still going far. They're on their start now, especially for Eunice. She has started. in Moscow. But in front of her, she has many events, like the Olympics and Rio. So I always tell them, you have to have a long achievement, not a shorter one. So, and for me, being there, able to run again, it's an encouragement for me and also for them. It's like we boost each other. I think I'm their mom, so they always give me the full respect of being in that group, and also they always ask things. What has really kept me going on is, I think I can say the group, the right group, which we train together, the right people, and having the right coach, and also able to listen to your body. Not just to, when it is time to relax, you relax. I think that's what we take. When it comes to our off season, we really take an off, and the body comes back as fresh. You don't have to worry about when you start a season in a low pace. It's not the end of everything. You don't have to be in a top shape always from the start, because the season is long and you have to take everything gradually. I don't think I'll do any marathon myself, but I would like, when I retire, I just want to work with the young athletes and be able to give to the society what I have achieved.
We are glad you're watching Setting the Pace. You can watch this episode and others online at www.youtube.com/user/ZukuSports, or you can also follow us on Twitter at ZukuSports, or hit like on Facebook. Our page is Setting the Pace. This week, we are catching up with freshly minted silver medalist in the world of 5,000 meters, Mercy Cherono.
My favorite holiday, I would like to travel to Florida in the United States of America. My favorite color is purple. My favorite fashion is African attire. My favorite food is chapati and fish. One thing that people don't know about me is I'm just humble. I like reading motivational books and listening to music. My favorite car is Lexus. My best moment, it was last year when I won a silver medal in 5,000 meters. So I was so excited. My favorite destination in Kenya, I like to travel to Masai Mara. I like gospel music and country music. My favorite gospel musician is Lillian Rotich. The food I could cook in the shortest time is mandasi.
We thank you for your feedback in as far as letting us know what you'd like to know in the world of athletics. And this week, this is a question that has been sent to us by our viewer.
My name is Michael McDonald. I'm from the US, and I'm wondering, who is a rabbit in athletics?
A rabbit is the same word with a pacemaker. This is the guy who is pushing you at a certain speed so that you can get a fast time.
Many thanks indeed for keeping us company here on Zuku Sports as we continue to set the pace in the world of athletics. That's all we had time for this week. On behalf of the team here at Zuku Sports, my name is Sadiq Shaban. Goodbye for now.